What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel today. 6 days ago I made a video trying to go through all the transfer news because I was absent for 2 weeks. Now I'm going to do the second part of that video, go through the other 12 clubs and go through their transfer business so far and my reaction on it. This video is basically going to let me catch up with all the transfer news and the championship news that has happened so far. Now what I'm going to introduce is a new system where I'm going to shout you out. Obviously I give you shout outs most of the time through the Lexus Hall of Fame. Of course right now we don't have any football so I can't actually operate that, but to hopefully get the channel to grow a bit more, I'm going to introduce a new system. So if you like the video, you know, I greatly appreciate it, but if you follow me on either Twitter or Instagram, my Twitter and Instagram are always in the description down below. You can always click the link and follow me there. If you send me a screenshot of you sharing my video, which could be either commenting on another channel, another championship channel, or maybe just sharing it to your social media, you can send a screenshot of that. Then I'll include the screenshot in the next video and you will be shouted out for it. And that includes for subscriptions as well. If you've just subscribed to the channel, send me your screenshot on either Instagram and Twitter, and then I'll include the picture and I'll shout you out in the following videos. So if you want to be shout out, please subscribe and please share the channel. We're on 223 subscribers at the moment. The aim is to get to 1,000 as soon as we can, because at this rate I won't have his collaboration if I don't get to 1,000 subscribers quick enough. Hopefully at the start of the season I may grow a little bit more, but as of now I want to introduce the system, and if it works well I'm going to continue it. So if you want to be shouted out at all, please share this video and this channel in general, and please subscribe if you haven't done. If you're new around the channel, welcome to the channel. My name is Alex. I do championship content and football content on the go. With any further ado, let's go through the last 12 championship clubs I've not discussed, and I'll give you my reaction to their transfer business. So if you want to see the first part of this video, I'll include the link on the icon up there so you can see the first part. So this is the second part. Next alphabetically is Millwall. Millwall have made two pretty key signings so far, Ryan Woods and Troy Parrott. Ryan Woods, of course, they did have in the January transfer window, but now they've managed to extend his loan deal, which I think is a fantastic signing for Millwall. Was very instrumental in the midfield in trying to bring forward passes and was actively involved in Millwall's strong run of form at the end of the season. Troy Parrott's an interesting one. I've seen him a couple of times. Jose Mourinho gave him a couple of games, but he ultimately just wasn't starting consistently in the first team. I think with a team like Millwall, he'll definitely get started a lot more, with a little bit of a burden on his shoulders as well, because he has played in really big games, Troy Parrott, and I've seen quite a bit of him, especially in the League Cup competitions. Definitely has got something about him which I think Millwall would really like. The only players they've lost at the moment is the loan players at the moment that they haven't renewed their contracts of yet. Mason Bennett has gone back to Derby as it stands. Millwall could try and get him back, but so far he's back to Derby. Jason Malumbe has returned to his parent club as well, and Aidan O'Brien has returned to Sunderland, which are the only losses so far. But I have to say, Millwall squad, I really like it. I really like Millwall squad at the moment. I think they can definitely have a good season. We now go to Norwich, probably one of the most exciting teams to go down from the Premier League. Right now, they've actually made quite a few signings, one of them being Placheta. I don't know if I've said his surname right. He's cost just over £2 million. I don't know what to make of it. I think he's a winger. See how often he is in the starting 11 of Daniel Farke. I like the signing of Kieran Dowell as well. He's got abundance of championship experience. I believe they actually got him on a fee and not on a loan deal, which I think is actually good for Dowell. And of course, just yesterday, Norwich announced the signing of Jordan Hugill. A lot of people foreshadowed this. He was constantly linked with the Norwich role, and it'll be interesting to see if Daniel Farke either starts him over Teemu Pukki, and Teemu Pukki may be sold. But I'd say you have to keep Teemu Pukki. You know, to have 29 goals in a championship season, you've got to give him a go. Yes, his confidence in the Premier League, especially in the final 4/5 of it, was really low, and maybe he may have just peaked, but I think in the championship you've got to give him a good run of games, because to score 29 goals, he was 1 goal off the championship top goal scorer, which is still Glenn Murray. Daniel Farke doesn't normally play with 2 strikers up top, so it'll be maybe either one or the other, or if he does change his formation, it'll be interesting to see Hugo and Pukki play off each other. I think it'll be really exciting actually. Another signing includes Oliver Skipp, which I think is a really good signing, another young player from Tottenham Hotspur who I've seen a little bit. Definitely was not getting enough minutes with Jose Mourinho. I think this is another good signing. They've had a load of reinvestment. They've gained 19 players. And in terms of anyone they've lost, they've not really lost anyone that big. They've still got Todd Cantwell. They've still got Jamal Lewis, despite the interest from Liverpool. They've still got Max Aarons, who has been getting interest as well. Ben Godfrey's been gaining a load of interest, but he's still there technically. This Norwich squad is really, really strong, but I think just like what I said with Bournemouth yesterday, a load of players are going to get linked soon, and eventually they can't turn an offer for a Premier League club down. So maybe the Norwich squad is not a full-gone conclusion yet, but with the squad so far, I dare say it looks very scary. Nottingham Forest, they've made 3 key signings: Lyle Taylor, Jack Colback and Tyler Blackett. 3 pretty solid signings, and what's even better, 1 of each position of the field. Tyler Blackett will reinforce the defence a little bit, especially the left-hand side. Jack Colback will be a good defensive midfielder option, can fill in for Sam Basso. And for Lyle Taylor, a good striker option, and to give Lewis Grabban some competition. I think they also got Jack Colback in following that Alfred Semedo has now returned to Benfica following his loan ending. So it's a good option and a good like-for-like replacement for Nottingham Forest. The one thing you've got to mention about the signings though, they're both 30, 30 and 26 years old respectively. So Sabri Lamouchi's not going for young and youthful squad. They're going for key quality squads that have got a couple of years left in them. So I think this is definitely a short-term project that Sabri Lamouchi's going for, but I think it's definitely showing intent that they want to get promoted to the Premier League in a matter of seasons, and then they can reinvest in a Premier League surviving squad. Nottingham Forest's squad does look very, very strong. I think they will go again. I think they were unlucky to drop out of the top 6 in the way that they did. They just completely collapsed. If they could just improve their mentality just a little bit more, they can definitely secure it. They've got the squad for it, and I do think they have the manager for it as well. But Preston North End, probably the quietest side in the whole transfer window. You've not seen many news, although I think Preston today may announce a signing. I've been seeing a few tweets that something could be announced very, very soon. Tom Clark has left them, which is a real shame. He's been there for such a long time, but at the age of 32, he has now left to join Salford City. I think a really good move by Preston in the end. He just wasn't as quick as he was, and there have been some goals could have been avoidable because of Tom Clark's lapse in concentration and reaction time. I think definitely getting a younger centre-back in can be advisable for Preston to do that, especially increase the options in their depth. They're still trying to renew player contracts, more importantly Ben Pearson out of anyone. But Preston so far, they've definitely got a strong squad. It's just whether they're going to repeat the form they had at the start of last season, or if they're going to continue the form they had in the restart, which was a little bit inconsistent. With Reading, they got 1 player in, Josh Lauren from Shrewsbury. Heard a little bit about him. I think a really good, promising player from League One. However, in terms of outs go, they've lost 12 players. That's by far the most so far, and a lot of the departures have been the loan players that have their loans not renewed, including the likes of Charlie Adam, Jordan Abita, Pella as well, and Ejaria. Ejaria is still going to be a question mark for Reading, but he's been their best player last season, and if they lose him, Reading could really struggle, especially if they don't reinvest. I'm still not too convinced with Mark Bowen being a manager for next season, so I have no idea how he's going to perform. I don't know whether to be excited or to be dreading Reading next season. Rotherham have made a little bit of intent to stay in the league. They have made a couple of signings. Mikael Miller from Hamilton, I've heard a few things about him. Whether if he's a championship prolific goal scorer, we're going to have to wait and see. Kieran Sadlier from Doncaster, heard a couple of his stats. I think he's a really good option. Angus MacDonald obviously missed a lot of Hull's season through unfortunate circumstances, but now he's been signed for Rotherham, gained some championship experience. I think that's good for Rotherham. They've also got Wes Harding. Following that, Birmingham have now got George Friend. He's only 23 years old and has had some invaluable championship experience that could definitely help Rotherham survive. And I think the most recent signing for the whole window is Jamal Blackman, the goalkeeper. For me, I don't think he'll be Rotherham's #1 keeper. I think Iverson will stay as Rotherham's #1 goalkeeper. Blackman is a player that I just wish had a good run of games. He's been in Chelsea's squad for such a long time and has been passed around with so many loans. Looked promising at a couple of clubs, but unfortunately has not been heavily backed. It'll be interesting, you know, I would love to see Rotherham give Jamal Blackman the #1 goalkeeping spot, but following how good Iverson was last year with his 34 appearances at Rotherham, I think they'll stay with him. Now to Sheffield Wednesday, of course, they are in a very difficult position right now. They've made an appeal to try and stop their 12-point deductions, likely that they have going to have that rejected completely, so they will start the season with -12 points. The positives, they've made 2 great signings, Che Dunkley and Izzy Brown. I think there will definitely be positive signings for Sheffield Wednesday. The bad news though, they've lost 13 players, including Morgan Fox in the left-hand side, Stephen Fletcher, the top goal scorer, Fernando Forestieri, and they've not managed to renew the loan signings of Jacob Murphy, Alessio De Cruz, and Connor Wickham. If they were managed to keep just 2 of them, I think Sheffield Wednesday could look quite strong. But right now, their squad's really thin. They need to try and reinvest a little bit more. It'll be interesting to see how Gary Monk performs, you know. Still not completely sold of him being as a manager. Started well and obviously had his really poor run of form. So whether he's the right man taking Sheffield Wednesday forward, we're going to have to wait and see. Sheffield Wednesday need a really strong start of the season. If they don't, I think Sheffield Wednesday will be a favourite to be relegated throughout the whole season, and it'll be such a shame to see a side like Sheffield Wednesday relegated. Stoke City, I will say, probably in contention of one of the best transfer windows so far. They've made 4 signings, but 4 really good signings, 4 that have got championship experience. Stoke have managed to get 2 of the 13 departures from Sheffield Wednesday, Morgan Fox and Stephen Fletcher, to improve their left back and their striker position respectively. They managed to recapture James Chester. They had him on loan from January. They've now managed to make that deal permanent. And they've got John Obi Mikel for the experience. I discussed this yesterday, that experience goes a long way. And with John Obi Mikel, the stories he can tell the Stoke squad. And Stoke would have definitely known this guy well because he's played against Stoke so many times with Chelsea in the Premier League. I think it will definitely be a positive signing for Stoke City. Definitely one for the dressing room. Maybe not be playing as much, but he could definitely add some leadership to that midfield role, because previously I think the midfield has been a weakness for Stoke City. Now with John Obi Mikel at the Rome, maybe the midfield can improve. The only players that have really lost I take note to is Federici, who's played a couple of games in goal, Stephen Ward, and Mohamed Biran Diouf, who has been at the club for a long time, but unfortunately he has now left the club. With Swansea, they've also got 4 players coming in, but the one proper signing has been Corey Smith from Bristol City. He's a young English player. Swansea are going through the system of adopting young English talent, so I think Corey Smith and going to Swansea is a match made in heaven for me. The 3 players they have gone in, they've managed to renew Freddie Woodman's contract, and they've also got Pettersson and Barry Mackay returning on their loan deals as well. Swansea could easily loan them out again, but currently they've now got those players. In terms of players they've lost Van der Horn, which was always inevitable. He was not the youngest centre-back anymore, but such a leader though, and he'll be sorely missed. Conor Gallagher, I've heard that he's gone. Ryan Brewster, I mean, right now he's scoring pre-season games for Liverpool, so right now I think they've lost Ryan Brewster, although Swansea could try hard to try and get both Conor Gallagher and Ryan Brewster back, but if they can't, they need to try and reinvest, because those 2 players made such a huge difference to Swansea's squad. I think Swansea just need a couple of players to come in. If they can just get a few, I think Swansea can definitely match their position from last season, but maybe even improve that, because Swansea's definitely got one of the most exciting squads in the league. Now to the penultimate team, Watford. Now I can already see the strategy they're going for. They have only made 1 signing, which was Ngakia, only 19 years old and a right back from the West Ham under-23 squad. But many players have left Watford, a huge clear out, including Jose Holebas, who's gone to Olympiacos on a free, and Mariappa, who has now not got a club anymore. And both of those ages of those players respectively were 36 and 39. They're definitely trying to lower the age of the squad, which I think was definitely needed, including the likes of Troy Deeney, you know. Troy Deeney, yes, he's still at Watford. Maybe he's going to give it one more season to see how he'll cope with the Championship. Again, of course, Deeney is famous for scoring that absolutely dramatic goal in the playoff semi-final. I've still got goosebumps on it. What's important for Watford, to be honest, they can have whatever squad they have, but they've got to keep the manager at the helm. You know, they've really struggled over the years to keep the managers. I'm going to reveal a stat when I go to Wickham in a minute that will blow your minds. But in terms of the squad right now, I'm happy with it. I think definitely it's strong enough to get out of the Championship. But I mentioned this yesterday, squad unity is very key. If it can really get the squad unity back into the squad, I think definitely Watford can go again. Now Wickham, and this is a stat that will blow your mind. Gareth Ainsworth is now the longest serving manager for a Championship club. He has served Wickham for nearly 7 years now. Now at the time when he's joined, Watford have had 14 managers. 14 managers, and that has been throughout Gareth Ainsworth's reign as Wickham manager. I mean, that's incredible. In terms of the signings they've got in, Uche Mpezu, Giles Phillips, they've managed to get him on loan again. In terms of the only key one I'm seeing is Ortherborth, who has now rejoined Bournemouth. His loan has not been renewed by Bournemouth. Ortherborth was one of the more key players in that Wickham squad. I think he was in the top 3 goal scorers for Wickham. It'll be interesting for Wickham to see how they cope without him. I think we all know deep down it's not a very strong squad going up from League One. It's not a squad that everyone expected to get promoted. You know, a little bit like Burton, no one expected them to get promoted in the style that they did. But you just got to wait to see. Players could absolutely flourish in this championship season, and Gareth Ainsworth could prove to be one of the best championship managers we've ever seen. I'm so excited to see how they'll perform in the championship. But that's me covering all championship clubs of their transfer business. Obviously, there's been a couple of more deals that have gone on about the first 12 clubs, which I'll quickly go through now. So, to catch up on all the big deals so far. Molly Watkins for Bristol City has now joined Aberdeen. I've expected this, he just wasn't getting enough game time. David Marshall, the Wigan goalkeeper, has now joined Derby County. I think that's a fantastic sign for Derby. Goalkeeping has been a huge problem for Derby. Ben Hamer and Kelly Roos has not been great for me. Marshall, I thought, was terrific with Wigan, was very unlucky to get the team relegated. He had a great run of clean sheets with Wigan as well. Marshall, I think, will be a good addition for Derby. And Tony Robinson has left Wigan as well. He has now joined Fulham in the Premier League. And Bristol City have now got Joe Williams, another player who has left Wigan to join a championship club this time Bristol City. Poor Wigan, they're going to have no players in their squad left. They've already lost Kiefer Moore to Cardiff as well, so we're going to have to see if Wigan have any squad players left after this. Either way, the transfer window never disappoints, and I'm excited to see what twists and turns it has in the next couple of days. But that was all for today's video. If you guys like what you see, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's tremendously appreciated. If you want a shout out, please subscribe to the channel, and please share the channel to show proof. Screenshot you subscribing or sharing my channel to what it may be, maybe your social media or another YouTube video of etc. That would really make my day. Send me a screenshot either on my Twitter or my Instagram. If I see a screenshot, I'll definitely include it in my next video and you'll be given an instant shout out. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, take care guys.